In this part 2, let's kick it off. This is Romonger's no longer dwarven male tinkerer. This is the tiefling, the female tiefling that he has going instead. And I suppose you'll be puttying on the horns and tail also. I mean, putty, green stuff, you know what I mean. Look at that. Yep, it is good form to ask, and I appreciate it, Ro. You're a cool dude for that. Yeah, Del, you barely got it in there, but I gave you some bonus like I told you I would. Anyone know about Oladamara dice from Greyhawk? I assume those are cheaty dice, because that is the god of rogues in that setting. Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. Ro does some really good work. And it sounded like Dark Wolf was also going to be drawing the character that we just generated, and she does some other things too. You can find her work in the Discord because she's been sharing it there. And you know what, Romonger? You're welcome to share that stuff in Discord as well. Just as a reminder, if anyone needs it. Bada boom, there it is. But yeah, works in progress, all that kind of stuff. It's all welcome here. It's a set of dice that act like a deck of many things. Oh, well. If you played a home game, you'd get dice, but all the games they play are online. Mr. Grimm is going into the dungeon. Oh, you're dreading painting that? Yeah, she looks detailed for sure. What you got, Grim? You gonna beat this? 11 and 15? Yeah, you got it. Nice. Looks like Chris is still on a cooldown from the planes, though. Either that or cooldowns itself or planes is on cooldown. All right, so, well, I'll keep this up because we can go back and reference this. Yeah, feels bad. Okay, so we are going to be map makers. We are going to be navigators. We are going to put our DM caps on. Actually, let's get a little music here. Here we go. Some nice atmospheric music. What you got, Grim? Can you ask a favor before doing so? I need to head off. Oh, shoot. Yeah, give me a second here. Dun, dun, dun. I'm sorry. I got up and I was moving, and I derped on that real quick. Let me take a look at this Google. At this... Okay, it said that I needed to send a request to you to view it, and so I just sent that request to be able to view your backstory, Chris. Mr. Grimm, 12 plus 3 barely squeaks it in there, defeats the centipede swarm for a mighty 700 EXP. And as for Romonger, going into the dungeon, can he avoid the pitfall? You only need a 12. You have advantage, 3 and 3. Oh no, Romonger fell into a pit. Can anyone save him? Or I guess in this case, her, if he's playing a female tiefling character. Okay, there we go. Let's take a look real quick. In fact, I will put this up on the main screen so we can all read together here. All right, Chris wanted a little bit of feedback here, and it sounds like he's going to get going soon, so let's read along together. Character name, Tannen Taurel. Okay, going for the human variant. Arcane Archer. True Neutral. Okay, well, this is always interesting to roleplay. I know we just made a random character with Neutral. Tannen Taurel is a lively character when the situation calls for it. He's rather carefree and jovial with those he's comfortable with, but not so much when there are those who want to get in his way. From the small village of Ulgard, about 1 week's travel from the capital of Fairan, he was rather mischievous as a child. He enjoyed roughhousing with the other boys of the village and made quite the reputation for himself. However, one day, while playing with his friends in the fields, they began to see smoke billowing towards the west over the hills surrounding the small town. A small army began to encroach on the village, coming to a full charge about 400 feet from the outskirts of town. One by one, villagers were struck down, women and children snatched up by the strange clay-like soldiers in the form of chess pieces riding on horseback. In an attempt to run to protect his mother, he was knocked unconscious by those running away when they bumped into him. When he came to, he was already moving on a large cart with other women and children, far from the village of Ulgard. They approached an old, almost crumbling castle in the middle of being restored by those same clay soldiers. Then one of the soldiers opened the cloth flap covering the back of the cart, and when it saw Tamrin woke up, he took him by the collar and dragged him inside. The cart of the other villagers were taken to the left of the entrance, and he never saw them again. Tannen was thrust into a large throne room, where the throne itself was made of a strange green marble material. A figure sat atop this jaded throne, looking down to the young boy, no more than 12 years of age. He introduced himself as the, quote, king of all men, unquote. He made it clear that this castle and its army called the Marble Court, and within his realm all men bowed before him, and those who don't face immediate damnation. He gave Tannen a choice, either become a slave and work till he dies on his feet, or become one of his elite assassins within his marble court. Having no other real choice, he'd rather not die that day. He reluctantly accepted the man's deal and underwent this arduous training. So I'm going to take a break because I have some chat doing some shenaniganies here. Grim can't go through the dungeon just yet. Dark Wolf going through the dungeon, hopefully making that rescue in that pit. A falling rock, can she dodge? And looks like she does. Nice, Dark Wolf, indeed. Ro is rescued from the pit. Oh, spit. Jam Jam is in. And Jam Jam is going into the plains. Welcome to the Stream Jam. We're going to go over... we're going to finish going over Chris's backstory for his character and give him some input. So feel free to follow along, and he wants advice on this. And looks like Jam is victorious. With the intro music at that. There we go. Alright, so to continue. After years of rigorous training, Tannen made a name for himself as an archer, but with the help of his newfound friend, Joral, he also became somewhat adept in the arcane arts as well. Combining his mastery of archery and arcane magics, he quickly rose up to being a contender for the Ace of Diamonds, the top prospect to come out of the Marble Court's assassin training program. He also, however, made enemies along the way. Those, probably that's supposed to be who. Those who would do anything to see him fall. That should be a him. As a graduation promise, both Tannen and Joral made a blood brother pact to never betray one another, to always be there for each other, but most of all, to be the best damn assassins this continent has ever seen. Now a full-fledged assassin and a member of the Marble Court, Tannen began to contemplate missions with those of his comrades that made it out of the program in one piece, even if some of them were missing an eye. That is missing a piece, isn't it? Before he even became an adult, he had already made a name for himself within the Marble Court, and the king acknowledged him as one of the greatest assets he has. After returning from a mission, the king himself pulled him aside from his group. He led... so that'll be LED. He led Tannen into a chamber hidden within the bowels of the castle sewers. Behind an illusory wall, illusory wall, he was met by an immensely huge atrium, and there stood 10 large stone thrones, and in the center the king's trademark jade marble throne. Sitting atop 9 of said thrones were the masked individuals with the diamonds on the forehead in blood red ink. The king turned to Tannen and asked him in a strange and ultimately life-changing question, "How would you like to be a part of something bigger than you'll ever know? You see, you've already seen these men and women here, so you can't say no." He was right. Tannen couldn't say no. It was just like how it was when he was first brought before him. Tannen bowed before the king and said, "There would be no greater honor, my liege." The king then handed him a pale white mask with 2 diamonds on the forehead, just like the ones the others wore. "Now, as a member of the 10, what shall we call you?" Tannen understood vaguely what was asked of him, yet he also knew what was meant by the 10. Tannen takes the brush next to the mask, dipped it in the blood red... Oh, so that should be took if we're going to stay consistent with tenses. And said, "Call me 8. The king turned and raised his arms to those behind him and screamed, "Welcome your brother, 8! The others clapped and cheered in a congratulatory manner he wasn't used to. One by one, they introduced themselves to him with their 10 names. Yet no one had their numbers on their masks. The king had led Tannen to the first member to be officially join the 10. "Now that you all have accepted this life-changing opportunity, tell no one. No one can know about this. You are phantoms, never to be recognized by any name other than the number on your mask. Failure to comply will result in immediate termination. Understand?" They all nod, and Tannen, who could barely believe what in the world he's gotten himself into, reluctantly nodded in agreement as well. "Wonderful," the king exclaimed. "Now the first official mission shall go to..." He looks about the faces, and Tannen says, 8. You will conduct the first mission as Tannen. You'll travel to the capital of Phyrion, apply the Velvet Veil, and get as much information on the defenses, manpower, and overall strength of the capital. You got that? You have as much freedom to ensure your mission to be a success. However, I will be watching you, so don't get any bright ideas. I doubt you will. Remember, I consider you to be one of the best we have in the Marble Court. Do not fail me!" The king then turned to the other 10 and said, "You all have your respective assignments given to you within the morrow. Till then..." I guess that's eat. Take out that S. "Eat well, rest up, and be ready in the morning. Tannen, you set out for the capital in 2 days. Gather whatever supplies and tools you need to ensure you get into the Velvet Veil. Do not come back if you fail. 10, meeting adjourned." The other 9 people vanished in a puff of smoke. The king turns to Tannen and says, "Remember, this group is not to be made public knowledge. Not even those within the Marble Court can know. Understand?" Tannen stands in awe, eyes wide. "Yes, sir, I understand." Tannen disappears in the blink of an eye, not even leaving any traces of smoke behind, ready to embark on his mission to the capital and to join the Velvet Veil. Yeah, Delcorn, a girl has no name. Alright, Bubonic, I'll take a look at that in Discord here real quick. Alright, so, Chris, a couple things. The low-hanging fruit, there are some spelling errors, and there's some there's some grammatical stuff. Consistency with tenses, and, the use of some commas and ellipses and some run-on sentences. I mean, that's easy stuff. It's mistakes everyone makes, so I'm not here trying to dog on you. Because in a lot of my first drafts, I do the same thing. Heck, I fill out these character sheets on stream, and I still fat finger stuff as I'm doing that. So don't worry there. If your DM asked you to do this to help build the world, you added a lot to the world, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but your DM. You've created a kingdom, you've created a secret society, you've created a lot of NPCs, and this is as a PC. And so if your DM likes this, he or she's going to have to make sure that this can be relevant information for the campaign. Also, you need to think about things that here we have a king who has amassed these elite assassins, and he is making some very powerful threats against their lives. That means that as a king, unless he's a bluffer, and someone like this doesn't seem like a bluffer, how is he going to back that up? Let's say that your character gets a bright idea. Let's say that one or some or all of these people in this organization choose to turn on him. When an NPC applies this kind of pressure to a PC, I would imagine that there is the power and influence to back that up, and that it's not just a hollow threat. People can say that they're a king, and that's fine, but are they really? Kings wield power, and kings wield these decisions. And that would almost indicate that there's another group that's out there that's meant to keep your group under watch and be undetected, despite being, an elite group of assassins, and to be able to take you all out if you misbehave. So something to keep in mind is that there's a growing power level in your character, right? You started out in a very classic fashion, nothing wrong with it. You're the villager playing, in the countryside, and something happens, and boom, the journey continues. That is bread and butter storytelling. I have no problems with that. Things are escalating, and I know you kept it as a brief backstory, and that's good too. I know you kept it as a brief backstory, but this power level of sorts is escalating, and yet there's always this margin above which this king and whoever his enforcers, whether it's the rest of this diamond group, or again, you've created these chess piece metaphors, and you've created these card suit metaphors. So there's just a lot here, and I want you to be careful about how this is presented in the world. If that makes sense, Chris. So I totally get where you're going with the character. Started off as the innocent, the innocent farmer's child kind of a thing, playing out in the fields. Bad stuff happens, and he, under threat of death, is enrolled in this program. And if he's definitely taking the prospect of killing people kind of in a cheery fashion, like, yeah, we're gonna be the best assassins. Well, I mean, assassins kill people. This is murder. Assassination is murder, even if it's a bad person that you're bringing down. It's like the kingdom's most wanted criminal for just like arson or something. It is still death. Also, how does this work with the true neutral nature of the character? I don't know. That part doesn't seem to be jiving for me. Maybe, especially, it's kind of a stereotype, but a lot of assassins are lawful evil, right? Evil isn't defined as, like throwing babies over the side of a boat or kicking a kitten. It's a measured amount of selfishness. So, why must you keep getting adverts for Fortnite? I can't stand first person. Headache maker. Jam ponders Delcorin's character. In the world of assassination, even one's allies are fair game. That means you too. Yeah. Death picks no sides. Essentially, the Marble King is what my character refers to him as when they're away from the castle. The Velvet Veil is a criminal organization that deals in assassinations. They defy the If you can explain it, because you on first blush, you might have other PCs or your DM wondering. So use these questions as practice to be able to explain it. Also, while that is a fuller backstory, make sure you can pitch your character to your other players or your DM in 1 minute or less. Can you condense down your character to like a paragraph and make that 1 minute pitch? Now, having the full backstory is fine. In fact, this was something Romonger even talked about when he was getting going, because he made a really detailed one, a very intricate one from how it sounded. And his DM read it, and that's great, because it sounds like there was a lot to go on, and the DM was kind of feeding off of that into the world again, and putting that back into the world. But you got to make sure, is your character concept, what can I understand as a fellow player or as your DM? You have 1 minute to describe that to me, because I, as a fellow player or a DM, have to keep everyone else's characters in mind, including the world. So, Yeah. That's fine, Chris. This is me just kind of getting up on a soapbox and making sure that I've addressed several things, even if you've already covered it in context. You know, I'm giving you straightforward feedback. And you know, if your DM likes this kind of structure of, you know, chess pieces and cards and all that, I don't judge when it comes to stuff like that, because look, there's nothing new under the sun. You know, using cards and chess pieces and tarot decks or any of this stuff, yeah, it's a fantasy trope, and so what? I mean, embrace it, find a unique way to employ it, have fun with it. That's all that matters. So I'm not getting hung up on anything like that. I just make sure that there's some kind of consistency, and realize that your backstory has fleshed out a lot in this world. And so you'll want to think, you know, one step ahead when it comes to this sort of stuff, in case your DM has questions on it or wants to involve this kind of backstory as it affects all of the other players. Because it will, right? If they're traveling with an assassin that's under that's being monitored by this king and this other assassin group, they're all, as kind of Jam said, they're all targets also, in their own way. King, he posted a link to his Google Doc on the Discord. So yeah, Chris, I believe that King would be happy to also give you a thorough examination of your backstory there. Cool. So, if you need anything else, Chris, let me know. And anyone else can ask questions or prompt things. Yeah, the DM sent out applications as well as he would current players in the campaign. Okay. Well, yeah. Hey, if King wants to look at it, I'd let him and get another opinion too, because mine is just one. Yeah, I'm kind of the face on my channel, but I'm a dude, and the dude abides. All right, we started out this week by creating Main Chin, who is our halfling monk, who is an outcast. He does have a neutral alignment, and Bobicus was bringing up some points that maybe he was thrown out because he actually killed someone, and this is what started on his, like, I didn't kill him to kill him. I killed him because he insulted our order, and I needed to prove that our order was as strong as I was saying it was. And this then sent him out into the wilds, and he's neutral like an animal's neutral. Yes, an animal will hunt you, and an animal will eat you, but it's not doing so out of evilness, and it's not sparing anyone because of benevolence. Who's stronger? Who's hungrier? Who can get away? Who can survive? And his personality traits back this up. So the map that we're making should have an element of some kind of wilderness to it. What kind? I don't know. We'll find out. All right, Chris. See you again. I really appreciate you following and being a part of our community here. That means a lot to me, and it's great to have another person in the chat, you know, having fun, participating, playing games, and asking questions. This is exactly what I love building, and having as many of us be a part of as possible. Dark Wolf, I can see what you're saying with that, and I think I can agree, though there was a bit of a time skip as well. Like, we have a young boy who does grow up under these circumstances, and he's otherwise not treated poorly by the king, so there's probably like a harboring resentment, but I can see how a personality change can happen. I like that idea, Romonger, and in fact, I will be doing that for my next campaign. So I can let you know how it goes, because I'm going to be doing some interesting stuff with that. In fact, it's not necessarily foreshadowing, but I have a steampunk shirt on. I love steampunk stuff. I love getting into that. If I showed you some more stuff, then there you go. Hey, I should consider putting those dice alongside my deck of many things. No, that's fine, Bubonic. If I can find a way to replicate that bot generator, I'll do so. And I appreciate you letting me know about it. I just can't do it at this moment. Later, Chris. Yeah, fireballs and firearms. Yep, because my characters already have access to black powder weapons and some other things, so we've been kind of slowly building into it. Okay, so this was our first character here. Then we made Folus Wrightsmith, who is a half-elf. We rolled him as lawful evil. He's an urchin. Now, urchins don't have to mean a city. You can still have an urchin in a farming village, you know, or I guess we could say we were talking about Aladdin earlier. You know, Agrabah is a big city, but you know it's not a city. Or you can still have, you know, a scrappy. Oh, think Tom Sawyer, right? Huckleberry Finn is an urchin in what, a town of maybe 200 people in Mississippi. So there's nothing necessarily wrong with having something smaller, right? Because we've already built two cities, one on a lake and one over a swamp along a river. I'm thinking maybe going something a little bit more rural, but I'm open to suggestions from you all based on the characters that we've created so far. Pardon me. Now, he learned to be a bard at first, and something happened, and he took these two levels of druid, particularly a coastal druid. Does that have to mean a saltwater coast? Not necessarily. You know, if we're thinking something even like Huckleberry Finn, this could be, you know, along the banks of a mighty river. This could be along the shore of a great lake. This could be along a coastline of a saltwater body. It could be on an island. It could be on the mainland. There's a lot of options we have here. So we have some kind of a population center. We have some kind of a large watery body. You know, here is, you know, this is what it is. You know, an outlander, you can survive in the wilderness. And lastly, we came up, she still needs a name and a little bit of background stuff, but we do have this charlatan. Now, there's nothing saying that she can't be from a big city, and she's moved into, you know, this other village or this region that we're constructing, and, you know, putting the moves on people or something along those lines. You feel bad for orcs, though. They all seem to work in... oh, yeah. Well, you know, they have... it's that old Tennessee Ernie Ford song. In fact, here, I'll kind of put that on in memoriam of the orcs who are kind of laboring. So this is going out to you, Romonger.
People say a man is made out of mud. A poor man's made out of muscle and blood.
Oh yeah, okay. So there's the Discord link, and here I'll throw this up here just in case, because I just thought about it. I don't want to get hit by any kind of like a copyright strike, but there you go, Romonger. There's a link to watch 16 Tons, and we can think of the poor orcs. It's a very addictive song too. So. All right, so we have someone who does operate around any social circle, really. I mean, she could still be, the country lass who just kind of goes around and always seems to marry the rich old people, and they die. Weird. She is neutral as well as Mainchin, which could add for an interesting play off each other. Whereas he's going for the physical, the natural order of strength. She's doing a social neutrality, where she's asserting her strength over others in social situations and getting stronger for it. You know, she's not particularly like abusive or evil. I'm not saying she kills her husbands. We're just making up examples. But she gets in people's good graces. You know, think of The Music Man. I don't know if you've seen that musical, right? He goes into small town USA, tries to sell the local high school a bunch of instruments, and ends up staying and kind of being a not bad guy. Yeah. Sorry, Grumsh, I can't go. I sold my soul to the company store. Oh, that's good, Bobicus. Okay, Dark Wolf. Hey, when you finish that, let us know, and I can fill in the descriptive stuff off of there. We were trying to help them unionize. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. Another song like that one. She spreads Legos everywhere. Is that like Caltrops, Mr. Grimm? Wait, a formal noble, someone who wants to tear down the nobility, and the assassin monk. Yeah, this is a very political party. Because, so, she comes from a noble family somewhere, and you know what? She could even come from, she could be from Lellywelyn's Folly. Like, these other cities can't exist in what we're doing. We can link her back to Lellywelyn's Folly, to Clabheim. We could link her back to the campaign setting we used last week, which is Tianise. So she's from somewhere, and she's left there, probably because she got in trouble, right? She never runs the same con twice, or at least not twice in the same place, because it's easy to get caught. And level 20 Caltrops, yeah. So are D4s. I think we can have an awesome political, like a political intrigue. So, what are we thinking for the setting? What kind of a map is forming? Are we looking at rural stuff? Are we looking at maybe this is taking place in an established kingdom of some kind, or a theocracy? Is this in the middle of a desert? Is this what are we feeling inspired by these characters? We need a coast, a big city with feudal landowners surrounding. Well, are you suggesting maybe we go back to Clabheim, Bobicus, or do you want to do something new? We could do a saltwater-based city. We can do it on a lake, on a big river, something along those lines. Nobles at a trade port. Hey, yeah. That you almost get like a King's Landing from Game of Thrones style thing. A rural town with a river going nearby and a keep nearby. Okay, so it's kind of like so Mr. Grimm is throwing out an idea, maybe like a frontier post, someone of like middle nobility is out there responsible for keeping all the local yokels in check, and it's maybe something like that could work. Bobicus is suggesting a saltwater-based city, tension between the traders and the landed nobility. Okay. Well, and we can see what the tension in the city is. I don't mind even taking a direct suggestion, though we can also delve a bit into the DMG for that. And Dark Wolf, a river of some kind, like if it's by saltwater, unless we say that for some reason they can magically purify the water on a mass scale, there's going to have to be a river or some other fresh source of drinking water for there to be an establishment. That's kind of like rule number one of map making and city building is where are people getting their water? Because water supports people and crops and animals and all of this other stuff. Hey, Clark, welcome! Mr. Grimm says, or like Rowan. For whatever reason, the name sounds familiar, but it's not coming to me for Rowan. How about a foreigner city in a desert area on the coast? Ah, we can do something like that, I guess. So let's say that we can blend a couple different ideas here. We can blend Bobicus and Bubonic, and we can even throw in Dark Wolf as well. I think there's a very good way of doing this. Oh, Rohan. Okay, yeah. I was thinking like Rowan. It sounds something. Yeah, like the Riders of Rohan. Yeah, I gotcha. Okay. Oh, Clark. You know what? It snowed here in Ohio today, so even though we're in March, we're not quite out of it just yet. And if I recall correctly, you're living in the future, aren't you? You're a couple hours ahead in the future. Maybe desert floodplains like the Nile. Yeah, we could do something like that. All right, let's do this then. We're going to get the old pencil out. Jam Jam's offering a mix of Rohan and Bravos from Game of Thrones. Interesting. That'd be like a kind of like a canal city. Still getting snow here in New York State. Could be a desert port city that sits on a corner of a delta that feeds into contested seas during wartime. Neutral traders are looking to flip sides based on visiting nobles, financial deals, and cultural differences. Oh, okay. I think we're definitely getting an idea in chat here. Oh, you guys are coming up with some good stuff. You put off heat like a heater. Just standing in a frozen lake in oh, oh my. Oh, Clark, are you in but if you're an hour ahead, that's going to put you up in British Columbia, or... Okay, so if we're doing what King is suggesting here, we could have something, and this could even bleed a little bit into what Jam Jam was talking about. We almost have almost like a Mediterranean style sea coming in. And so we can we'll start at the edge here. We'll kind of like go out. Okay. We'll come back in. We'll come up. Different land masses. Having fun. Drawing some squiggles. There's going to be like a big... We should make like a point of contention, like a Gibraltar around here. And this kind of comes back out. And... this goes out to sea. There we go. And in fact, we could even put kind of like an inland sea over here. So it'd be like a salt lake or like a Dead Sea kind of a thing. Salt water here. And it would be connected by not quite a river. This could be a canal. This could be like a Suez Canal kind of a thing. Right now it's kind of like a kidney. There we go. Oh, okay. Other side. I'm sorry. All right, so we have something like this as our sea. King says, I'm imagining something like the Mediterranean pre-Crusades, bunch of warring kingdoms, and a ceasefire with the looming threat of foreign invasion from a brutal empire that doesn't share their culture or faith. Yeah, and that would kind of rally everyone together. So you've got nobles wanting to suck up to their new empire, nobles fearing the new empire. I'm picking up what you're putting down. We should probably even have, for funsies... We can carve it out here. We'll use a light yellow. We'll even say that there's... All right, so we have... Spain looks like an upside-down top hat. Italy looks like a boot. Give me something... Let's make an island nation, and if we want to kind of vaguely hint to the Mediterranean, give me something someone wears, right? If it's not a hat or a boot, what is something someone wears that we're going to shape into an island in the middle of the sea? Dark Wolf says a mask? Okay. Kane coming back with the codpiece headphones. So maybe we can do something like a brooch. Something that still kind of flows and... Simply because earlier in the evening I was wearing this. Definitely underwear. The island of Pantalonia. So it'd probably have its own kind of lake here. And it would probably have its own little lake over here, like a twin lake thing. Just a pair of tighty whities. There we go. All right. So we have, we're going for a Mediterranean, very political, based on the characters we've generated. You all have had a lot of really good ideas. And so we're going to make a regional map, and then we can put some political boundaries in between it. Pardon me. What we should probably do, also, if we do want to set it up that there is this conglomerate nation that's coming through and getting the other ones, there should be some kind of a natural barrier that would explain why they haven't yet made this attempt just yet, besides the sea itself. Yeah, Jim. The higher the AC, the less physical armor you wear. What was the character that we generated tonight? It is a neutral rogue thief, charlatan half-elf, female. And her con is number 3, where she ingratiates her people or herself to people and then kind of bilks them for their money, like by playing on their emotions. And then this is her personality information right here. So go ahead and take a look at that while I'm wandering over here. So what we could probably do is, I think we could probably put in some kind of a mountain range. We can even have it extend out to the sea a little bit. Yeah, so let's see how we're doing this. It kind of comes down. Some kind of a tectonic plate. This is why having at least a rudimentary knowledge of geology and things like that could come in handy. So we have a mountain range. It's going to come up this way. It'll border on the sea. So it's making something like this. Now the ridge comes down, and this is perhaps even where the mast island gets a little bit, kind of like right down the center, where this plate reemerges up. And so sand and silt and everything has come up with it and is formed around it. And then this mountain range can even then split down this way, because if we're talking countries, those tend to have natural borders, mountains, rivers, lakes, things like that. So we need to make sure we're making a geographically diverse map and not just put a splotch of water and a splotch of brown for a mountain. This island could defend itself mostly through its prowess at naval battles, and the island could be bristling with castles. Yeah, it could be sort of like maybe it's almost like a UN style area, maybe. All right, so if this is coming down this way, we can have it kind of split out, and in fact, we can even go and say that there's all right, so the mountain kind of goes here before it subsumes down into the water. So we'll modify that, and then we'll have this kind of branch out this way to indicate that it falls in. And then the rest of that, there we go. So we have this. We should probably put in something else, because there's at least going to be some other residual little mountains here. I wonder if there's any hot Templar girls ready to go crusading this weekend. Let's see. So something kind of came. If the sea is coming in here, something's containing it. Why don't we almost make this like kind of a sheer mountainous area here that's holding it in? And this can go off the map here to the south. And that can be its own sort of thing. So there's definitely some kind of tectonic plate subduction, or... So in the plates, when one plate goes down and pushes up the other, that's subduction. And there's another one where a plate is pushed up, and I'm forgetting offhand what that is. Uh-oh, Jam's going exploring here. The Knights of Malta held islands right off the coast of the Ottoman Empire. Ah, okay. Yeah, we can certainly use history. Knowing our own history is wonderful for fantasy and storytelling. One character is exploiting them for tax reduction purposes. Also, they're in the local gangs to launder money. Yeah. These are awesome ideas. Why not a whirlpool? Whirlpools can exist naturally. Many do, especially there's a very notorious one in Japan. That's actually where Naruto comes from, not the anime character. Or if I purposely mispronounce it to grate on nerves, Naruto. Malta was held with a force of 8,000 against 40,000 Ottoman soldiers. Yeah, having the high ground or having something like that helps out a lot. A temporary whirlpool that appears every so often. Yeah, it could be a tidal thing, and in fact, that could even play into something along here. So if we have the mountains kind of continue to come down, and we're making kind of a narrow, like just like part of the tips of the mountains. And we got to flesh it out so it expands over this way too. But we can fill in some of this stuff. We can add a rock. This is kind of a no man's land. I don't know. Maybe this one actually has a little bit of like not really a valley per se, but it has a little bit of space on the inside. And so when the tides come and go through this area, this can create some whirlpools. It's probably a notorious place for wreckage. Bubonic, yes. I did see that. Here, let me type this in real quick. Delia or Lahime, or Lame, depending on how you want to pronounce it. There we go, bubonic. In the case of two plates crashing together to form upwards, that's orogenic. That's an orogenic belt. If one is going down under the oceanic plate, it's is it abduction? I thought it was called subduction, but it's been a while. With one going below the other. So yeah, heck, we can even so as DMs, right? We're coming up with this area. We can. There is not just geographic, but geologic events that can be occurring as well. And one of this might even be, if there's an earthquake, there's nothing saying that maybe a little bit of lava is not trickling up. Or even that, what if we say that this area down here is actually more like, this could be igneous rock, and there's actually an active volcano here, which is like the sore spot in between these plates right here, and this is the weak point, and so there's just like some smoke that's drifting up. And so you can live on this island because you're not necessarily downwind. By the time it gets over here, not that it's a heavy, it emits a lot of heavy ash, but boom, it kind of drifts. Whoa, nay. There we go. And don't forget the transverse plate. She's got that northern Mediterranean look to her. Ah, very. Okay, so we're kind of talking like we're talking like northern Italy, northern Spain kind of a thing. Oh, subduction is a thing too. Got it. Whirlpools aren't caused by opposing currents, tidal collisions. Occasions become the aforementioned, which is why the Naruto eddies. Yeah, there you go. All right. Now, as weather tends to blow west to east, this would be bringing in different kinds of currents. This would be bringing in a lot of weather. Now, that might mean then if these mountains are tall enough, the area directly behind the mountains are probably not going to be getting a lot of this moisture. And so this would mean that they tend more towards scrubland or desert, as opposed to the area that would be a little bit more fertile on this side, because the rain and everything is being captured by the mountain, and it's flowing down, and we get like these floodplains that we're kind of talked about, or they're called alluvial fans, where the water courses down the mountain and then kind of spreads out and dries out into a fan pattern with all the silt. Man, we're getting a good history and geography and geology lesson tonight. This is awesome. She's got the northern Mediterranean, and don't forget the transverse plate mixed with Swiss or Austrians look like that. Ah. So let's do something. On this side is going to be a little bit more fertile. And so we're probably going to have a lot of trees. At least up close in the foothills and everything where a lot of the water is being trapped. We could even end up having something like a swamp too. So we could even come down and kind of say, alright, so this kind of comes in like this. Right here. Probably, it might not get too close because a lot of the water is going to wash out and there's going to be a river of some kind. So we have this. And then we'll have some other pockets. This area here, though, right? So we get kind of a swampy area this way. We'll fill this in. Oh no! It's all swamp. Kind of come down here and create kind of beach area. So this is salt water, so we're not going to get a ton of like farmland necessarily just butting up to it. And we'll just have that kind of go up a little bit. That works. Something like this. And then we get something kind of like that. And we can even then draw in. We'll use a different color here for the other water. We're going to have a river that comes up through the woods from the swamp, kind of draining this mountain water out into the sea. There we go. Oh, what else do we have? Mangroves. Is this Red Dead Redemption soundtrack? No, this is just kind of a standard Western. Near the sea is a mangrove. It's filling me with a feeling of vastness. Subduction is where the oceanic plate is pushed under the continental plate and in the process in which volcanoes form. Abduction is the opposite, with the oceanic plate is over the continental plate and forms new tectonic ridges, which translates the abduction process into subduction. Orogenic belts are where two continental plates push against each other, forming mountains and mountain ridges. Well, Jam, you can push your glasses up, and I appreciate you finding that information and sharing it, because this is going to be great for us to build this area, this corner of the world. And, with King and even the stuff you were saying, we need to add the geography so then we can make the political map. And then, of course, when the political map is made, we can get into the politics. Probably both of these down here are going to be freshwater. We can say that this kind of catches the stormwater as it's coming off here. And there's probably going to be a little bit of trees and such. Plus we can kind of decorate this mask some. And kind of come up here like that. And a little bit over like this. This is fantasy. We have some license for this stuff. Whoops. That works. Okay, how about the area on the southern side is a jungle, since it's going to be getting a ton of water? Yeah, we can do something like that. Prevailing winds are going to blow around the mountains, as are the currents of warmer seawater. So yeah, that'll churn up the weather. King says, a figure sat atop this jaded throne, looking down to the young boy, no more than 12 years of age. He introduced himself as the king of all men. Oh no, Chris's character villain is me, says King. Whoa, hey Peru. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Von alle means of everything. Okay, so we might end up getting, like, kind of coming down the mountain, we actually might get a little bit of like kind of a strip here. Of some grasslands, which are going to quickly get into something kind of like this. Have this kind of bump out for who knows what reason. Woohoo! Hey yo! So we got to think about so the weather is kind of, the sea's coming in, it's churning in and out. It's bringing in winds kind of more up and over. Although in this case, so we're almost having the moisture go down if this is going to be a jungle down below. So a lot of this up here is going to be kind of deserty. And we could even extend this down a little ways, especially because there's going to be a lot of water that like anything churned here. This is probably almost going to be brackish, right? Kind of a half salt, half fresh water, and maybe depending on the season, you can just drink from it without having to worry too much, as it's more out than in, something along those lines. And then this is going to get a good, like, refreshing blast of fresh water and all this. So I almost want to say... So this is going to come up like this. And this could even join it out over off the map someplace. That will then fill in here and here. And this will give us some arable farmland that goes right up to the sea here, instead of having to worry about, you know, kind of like beach or, you know, just... not that this is barren. This tan isn't barren. It's just... Think Greece. Think southern Italy, right? There's stuff that grows there. That's perfectly fine. It's just not the Great Plains, or it's not, you know, central valleys filled with flush water and extremely fertile soil. Deserts follow large mountain ranges, so you're making a delta. Yeah, a delta was brought up. A delta was brought up because it was kind of, yeah, like scrub plain desert. Kind of Nile, following a Nile rowmonger. Peru says, I've eaten something terrible. I've been here a while. Soothing music is nice, very sick. Oh, I'm sorry, Peru, man. Well, thank you for coming and jamming out with us, even though you're feeling bad. Aw. Well, everyone, lend your energy to Peru. Okay, hopefully that helps. So yeah, Ro, we're kind of saying that, like, off the map as the weather's moving west to east. Well, I guess kind of how the camera's situated. All right, so if the weather's coming down this way, off the map, there's a lot of water being blocked by the mountain, and so we're getting desert up that way. But more weather is able to... Hang on, I gotta get the hang of doing this opposite. So, okay. Whew, like this. You people are brave. If I told Matt I was sick, I'd have expected him to tell me to use it as character inspiration. Dagnabbit, you should, King. But then again, you're setting yourself apart because you're very energetic and into a lot of character role playing or whatnot. Anyway, so yeah, come on, take it as a compliment. You know, you're the A student that if you get a B, then you don't get taken out to Chuck E. Cheese. But then we just got to find who's the F student that when they get a D, all of a sudden they get, you know, $300 on their birthday kind of a thing. Uh-oh, Jam Jam. You better watch out. I'll tell you what, Jam Jam. Let's see. I don't know if you can go into the Underdark, Jam Jam, but if you can do an Underdark adventure and you win, I will give you bonus EXP. That's right, King. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice, Jam? Romonger's going into the dungeon. Poison dart shoots out. Can you dodge it? 8 and 8. Oh no, Blarg. Romonger takes a poison dart to the something and collapses. No, not yet? Okay. I'm gonna do this here. Oops. I didn't want that. I didn't ask for this. Ooh, that's, that might work. Right, so we got a river kind of coming out of the swamp here, and then this could indicate kind of, the brackish water. Like, mostly... I don't know. Meh. What if we just, I guess, do this, and then... do that, I guess? Ugh. I don't know what looks better to you all. You want grilled cheese, but you're too cold... Oh. But Clark, it's a staple among college students. Come on, man. You can do it! More energy! Ah. Oh no, my nether regions. Ugh, dear God, why has thy forsaken me? Meanwhile, King over here just does a cartwheel over a pitfall. Nice. Okay, Dark Wolf, I'll take a look at it here. Oh, cool. All right, so we have some different regions, and I think we can break this up pretty well. Okay. I'll tell you what, Jam Jam. Once I clear you out here, I'm gonna take a quick break, and then I would love for you all to give me some input. We'll come back and kind of have part 3 be finishing up our map and going from there. I will keep the map up though. I won't go to the bar scene. That way you guys can get some inspiration and offer some tips on where we could draw political lines, maybe some names for nations, or we can set some stuff up. Because this looks like we're going to make a more of a political themed area and campaign. Jam Jam has disadvantage. Oh, Jam Jam is squished by a falling rock. Clark goes into the woods, needs a 12, plus 2, attacking normally. Gets an 18, a natural 18. Oh, you're good. Peru, the next area you go to, I will give you a bonus if you win, commensurate to the difficulty. Clark, that's called brackish water. It could also, it can also be called like a delta, like the Mississippi Delta or the Nile. Although I think a delta is more, well, yeah, it's like where the river flows out. But yeah, saltwater and freshwater mixed is brackish water. Guess who's a gnome burger now? and you and you come back, male gnome cleric. Okay, so I'm gonna be AFK a little bit. Dun, 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 dun. However, bink, where'd I go? Oh no! I'm gonna mute the mic, but I'll keep the music playing, and I would like you to take a look at the screen, and let's populate the area with a couple concepts.